Hello and welcome back to Football Talk, the football podcast with myself, Dave, and my ever-present co-host, Josh. Are you there?
Player 2 has entered the game. Hello.
Oh, how long were you thinking of that?
I thought about it just before we started, actually.
Yeah, it was good. It was clever. Well done.
Because I was going to do, because it's the 20th anniversary of What's Up? 20 years,
God.
Dave. How old are we? And I thought, no, I won't do that again. So I thought of a different one.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've used that up early.
Yeah.
Too early in the podcast. So
it is a very good intro, though.
It's had its day. So
yeah, 20 years ago.
Well, yeah. 20 years ago, bloody hell. Anyway, so what's caught your eye in the news? Anything to report from your end of football?
Well, I think after we last spoke, we had a small match-up midweek, a Thursday night Premier League match, weirdly, which is got to be a unique one because that's normally when Arsenal play. I got there. So we had Manchester City versus Liverpool, and
big game.
Did you watch it? I don't know what your.
I didn't watch it.
Poor timings.
It was on 8 o'clock in the evening, which is 4 o'clock in the morning for me. So no, but I have seen the highlights. I did see the highlights
just before work. Then, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was an intense first half, and you settled down a little bit in the second, but there was obviously some spates of action in the second. But I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I actually watched it much like a fan, of one of those clubs. I was quite tense. I was sitting forwards on the edge of my seat. It was I dread to think what Liverpool fans and Man City fans were doing throughout, because I was pretty much biting my nails.
But who are you backing then? Who are you backing? If you're feeling like
I was
that,
backing Man City. I'm backing.
Oh yeah, because you don't want Liverpool to win the league. I remember.
Well, it compresses things. Liverpool fans seem to have already kind of sewn the title up in their minds, and so I was very happy for Man City to get a result. And so it was a really good game. Aguero's finish for the first goal was absolutely ridiculous. He has no right to score from there. Lovren probably could have done a little bit better. Just let him take a touch, take a shot. But that finish is just absurd.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And Leroy Sané came back into the good books as well.
Yeah, Leroy Sané did well. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold could have done a little bit better on the blocking the shot there. He's kind of just wandered across him, hoping he'd get something on it. But he did. I think I was very impressed with both fullbacks. Both Liverpool fullbacks during the match are very good. I mean, they set up the equaliser. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold's delivery is outstanding, and Robertson was just had anything down his left flank, like one-on-one with Sterling. He was almost matched it every time and time again. A few times I think Sterling grew into the match, but it was good. I must say that I wasn't overly impressed with City's defending. They kind of kept Liverpool out, but it did look very panicky at times. Ederson was flappy all over the shop.
Their defending all season has been pretty poor.
Yeah.
Like we've mentioned it before on the pod about their fullbacks they need to improve. If Mendy's unavailable, they look pretty sceptical at fullback. So yeah.
I did love it. Did you see the incident where Mendy comes on at the end of the match to hug?
Yeah.
And the steward's like, "Oh my goodness, quick! Across this, nope." No, they've run for a bus and they just kind of go, "No, it's all fine here. It's Benjamin Mendy." Imagine if they tackled him and damaged his knee again.
That would be hilarious. And then they ran off pretending they were going to escort the referee off, didn't they? They just carried on running towards the referee.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Goal line technology. I've got to say that as well. The 1.2 centimetres or 1.1 centimetres, whatever it was.
Yeah, 1.12, yeah.
Bloody incredible.
There's been a few bits on social media that Liverpool fans haven't covered in glory. I saw this one post from a Liverpool fan saying, should we not, if it's 90% over, should that not be a goal? Because there's errors within the... where do we draw the line? I'll tell you where we draw the line. We draw the line when the ball crosses the line.
Yeah, the whole ball crosses the line.
Whole of the line. That's the line we draw it at. Oh. And I also saw the Anfield Wrap podcast talking about the length of the grass. Pep had kept it long to stop a quick passing game. Yeah, because Man City don't like doing that. They love a long ball punt upfield. It's like, oh, come on. Let's just lose with dignity. It was a very close game. Could have gone either way. It went Man City's. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
But pressure's on Liverpool now, because obviously they don't want to let it slip completely, and you need to make sure they go on a winning run now rather than letting City get back level. I don't know the timings of the next match, because I've always preferred to have points on the board rather than games in hand. I always prefer to play first and get the win rather than knowing that the other team's picked up a win and you're playing later. So that'll be interesting how that plays out for the next few matches.
Yeah. Do you think it opens the door for Spurs a bit? Because it puts you 6 points off Liverpool now.
It
like
does.
you said, it's compressed it all a bit. So
it does. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about as title contenders when we were 6 points adrift just after Boxing Day, was it?
yeah.
No, I think we'll just get completely ignored now. And to be honest, I really see it as a stretch that I've never really believed that we could win a title. It'd be fantastic. But looking at the squads and the money, I mean, I think Liverpool's team is worth kind of like twice as much as what Tottenham's is, and I've not even done the maths. So I'd say probably 3 times for Man City. So yeah, we haven't got the squads to sustain it. It'd be miraculous if it was to happen, but.
Well, I hope you do it, because you're 6 points off the top of the league and we're 6 points off 4th place. So it can happen.
Yeah,
it can happen.
Yeah,
It can happen.
And Chelsea versus Arsenal in a few weeks. So that
it is,
might
yeah.
give you another chance to. Yeah,
Okay.
but then you also play us. So
Yeah, we play Tottenham, which I'm not too confident about, but it's only Spurs, isn't it? So, as the great Sir Alex Ferguson once said, it's only Spurs.
Lads, it's Tottenham.
So,
yeah.
I've got a question for you in regards to Liverpool, Man City, and inadvertently Arsenal as well. I saw a tweet, and I can't remember who posted it the other day, and they said he's more impressed with the 100 points that Man City got in the league than when Arsenal went unbeaten. So which one, to you and the listeners in the comments below, let me know, which one is more impressive, to go unbeaten in a whole season, because Arsenal drew quite a lot of games that year, or to get 100 points in a league season? Which one do you think is more impressive?
I think it's the unbeaten.
Just because you've got the nature of not losing a game.
Yeah, it's real tangible pressure, because you're never setting out to get 100 points, are you? It just kind of, that happens, and you just win games, and you're just on that winning run, and you can still achieve 100 without losing. And I think but each match you cannot lose this match. That is a pressure going into every match, whereas it's just kind of a byproduct of performing really well. But City got to 100, so I'd say the Invincibles is more impressive than 100 points.
Okay, cool, interesting to know. Listen, I would say the Invincibles, just because it has that. Especially in the Premier League, no one else has ever done it. Like, no one else has ever got 100 points, but they could. It's more likely, I'd say, at the moment, someone to get 100 points than it is to go unbeaten, as we've just seen. So,
I don't know. Actually, that's a different way of looking at it. Is what's more likely to happen in the future? The thing is, as I've got to point out, is like, you go unbeaten. The more it goes on, the more teams want to beat you, because you've seen as this kind of untouchable team. Whereas reaching 100 points, it's kind of like, it's just, you're playing well, you're winning, you're picking up points. No one at the start of the season goes, right, let's win this game to stop them getting to 100 points. They go, let's win this game to win this game rather than just to beat them. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
Because
that's a good question.
I liked it when I saw it on Twitter, so I thought I'd ask you. So, because to be fair to Arsenal, I've just looked at that league table. They're only 10 points off getting 100. So yeah, they weren't that far off. Bad. But anyway, let's not get bogged down with Arsenal, because they're irrelevant.
Harsh. Don't talk about Arsenal badly. No one do that.
Right. You had a little. You wanted to say a little bit. You told me just before the show started. You want to say a little bit about a certain little Spaniard
who used to play for Arsenal, and I just wanted to say how happy I was to see Santi Cazorla back playing. He was told at one point he might,
lose his leg.
Be good. And then he pops up and scores 2 against Real Madrid during the week. One of them a header through Courtois' legs, and it's just, he was such a quality player. I mean, incredibly two-footed. He used to take corners and set pieces with both feet, and he was just such a magician. Really top-notch player. Looked a little bit like Adam Sandler, yeah.
Is that a bonus? Is that a good thing?
I don't think he'd be happy about that.
No.
Yeah, but But yeah, really good to see him back playing and back at Villarreal, where he obviously made an impression before. So
yeah, so I watched the highlights of that game. Very impressed with the winger Samuel Chukwueze. I think is how Chukwueze is how you say his name. He looked very good. I'll imagine there'll be big teams looking at him. It's interesting to know that draw took Villarreal out of the relegation zone, which is not something
strange, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't really associate that with Villarreal. They've always been the team that have got such a small population for the city, but they're always up in like 4th, 5th or 6th or they're always up there. And
it's like kind of glory days, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's because I haven't watched as much La Liga as I used to when I was at university, but I always just imagined Villarreal were never ever in trouble, and obviously they are halfway through the season. So yeah, you have to keep an eye on that. It'd be a shame if Cazorla got relegated. So
yeah, they're kicking off 11 a.m. GMT.
Oh, I might watch that. I might watch that then. So, all right, and then because it is January and January brings along the transfer window, we should have a little mention. Really, I mean, we'll have a big review later on in January about who signed what and what a waste of money certain people were. But anything caught your eye so far, transfer wise?
Well, it was I think it was my first day back at work, and all of a sudden, breaking news. Chelsea sign Pulisic. I was like,
I text you, didn't I? Yeah, I text our football group because obviously I was awake and it was my afternoon, and I was like, oh yeah, this has happened, and it was like, oh yeah. How weird. So Hazard's gone, isn't he? In the summer, it's got to be.
Yeah, the fact that he's been loaned back for the rest of the season. I think which is kind of Pulisic's want. He wanted his futures completely clear and clarified rather than anything dragging on. So. It would be interesting to see how fans react to that. If he gets on the pitch, because he's not a starter at the moment. He's more of an impact sub. But yeah, I think Hazard for me. I don't know. I'm torn. He could easily spend. He's talked about wanting to be a legend at Chelsea, but then he could easily end up at Real Madrid. It's hanging in the balance for me, but this isn't a good indicator for Chelsea fans by spending a lot of money. Although he is young, spending a lot of money on a seemingly like-for-like replacement for the future.
I think Hazard has said those comments because he wants the Chelsea fans to realise how much the club meant to him. Like, he didn't want it just to come to... I don't think he just wanted it to come to the summer and then be like, I'm going to Madrid, that's always been my dream. I think he did... Yeah. I think he's earned the move. I think there are certain players that can do that, and he's put literally his heart and soul into that club, and other than, when he down tools similar to Pogba and got Mourinho sacked, but I think that's more to do with the manager than the players, as we've discussed. But I think, I think Hazard has done so much for that club that if he wants to go, he should be able to go, sort of thing. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Anything else in the transfer window?
Well, linked to that Chelsea move, Fabregas seemed to be saying his goodbyes yesterday. It seems like he might be off now. I think it's Monaco.
Monaco.
He'll be joining up with his old teammate, Thierry Henry.
Oh yeah, I'd completely forgot Thierry Henry was Monaco's manager. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, cool.
It's one of those players where I think he played too much football too young, and he's just kind of slowed down physically. He was never outstanding physically. He was always technically he was very good. But I think Chelsea fans love him. They give him a standing ovation. Arsenal fans loved him. Barcelona fans never really, I think, took to him too well because he obviously started there as a youth and came back, but it never fully worked out from Barcelona. But a very classy player, very immaculate passer of the ball. Lots of good highlights in his Premier League career, but hopefully he can turn things around for Monaco. Monaco have also signed Naldo, the beast of a Brazilian centre back. Yeah, they signed him from a free, a 36-year-old.
Wow.
So, Thierry's making some moves in the transfer market to get him out of 19th position.
Do you think he's gone back to the days of playing Football Manager 14, where you could get a good corner taker and put the tallest guy marking the goalkeeper, and it's a goal every time?
I wouldn't be surprised if there was an assist and a goal for Fabregas to Naldo, because that looks like a match made in heaven, that one.
It does, yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
So the only main one I think I want to talk about anyway, because of the Premier League stuff, is actually Aaron Ramsey. So it's likely he's going to be moving in the summer because his contract runs out, but he can already start talking to the European clubs, and apparently
he can.
the massive clubs are all after him. Like, I just wanted to understand what you thought about that. So,
I think that he's obviously not a world class player, but he's a good squad player. But if you're getting him on a free, it's an absolute steal, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, to sign him for cash money, I think you'd be paying. You obviously would be paying tens of millions. So clubs just would go, well, that's obviously a fantastic deal. If I can pay him a few more million in signing on fees, but I'm getting a deal here. And I think the link between Welsh and Italian countries, I'd hope to see him at Juventus is my dream.
You don't think he'll go to Madrid to be with Bale? I think that could be a big sway. I think Gareth Bale at Madrid could be a big sway. I think.
Yeah. Is Gareth Bale going to be at Madrid forever?
Well, that's the issue. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. But
I was just injured every week. He's had 18 injuries he's had since he's been at Real Madrid now. Missing
bloody hell.
Games. Yeah,
that is bad. That is really bad. But I was just interested in it. I mean, any others transfer news? There's been a few transfers that have gone through, but we don't want to. As I said, later on in January, we'll focus on it. We'll do a transfer special sort of thing. But anything else for you?
Well, there's a kind of the rumours around Rabiot to Barca and De Jong to PSG, which that'll be a kind of the summer transfers, but that'll be kind of good for all parties. Well, apart from Ajax, that'll be good for everybody involved.
Yeah, true.
So that'd be good to see. I'd like to see De Jong playing in a top level. Well, it's not fully top level. I don't consider PSG or the French league the same as the others, but it'd be good to see him move to playing with better players, see what he can achieve. And Rabiot similarly, so he shown flash of his brilliance, but been a bit of a torrid time for him obviously recently.
Yeah.
Since
contract stuff and things.
New deal.
Yeah. And then Diaz moving to Madrid. It looks like 20 million or 15.5 raising to 20. And have you read the clause that's been put into the deal? Apparently.
If it's sold to Man United, the fee.
Yeah, they get 40% of the fee if he's sold to Man United.
That's funny that the announcement of terms and conditions, because Spurs announced that Toby Alderweireld had signed we'd extended his contract for another year, and we released two announcements. Later, we removed one and replaced it. But the first one announced the terms of his clause, because he has a £25 million clause.
Yeah.
But the transfer must be completed within 14 days of the end of the transfer window. The instalments received must be by this date the other day. It's funny to see the details behind transfers and contractual terms being released. But that doesn't look good for Tottenham. I think there's and obviously Christian Eriksen is still signing a deal. So that'll be an awkward one. But the last one I want to talk about was. It made Neil Warnock a bit angry. Have you seen this?
Oh, I did.
He felt he'd been promised Nathaniel Clyne, only to find out via TV that Nathaniel Clyne had gone on loan to Bournemouth.
Yeah, and he was annoyed with both the player and the club and said Liverpool lack class, didn't he? Because he was like, I'm disappointed in the player because I gave him his debut at Crystal Palace. Well, he probably was pissed off that you were the manager at the time, but yeah.
Talking about lacking class, but going on TV and slating another club and player, that's class, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. That is a weird one. Yeah. If you were Nathaniel Clyne, would you pick Cardiff or Bournemouth?
There's only one winner there, isn't there?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
really is only one winner.
Stay at Liverpool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that was obviously only part of the deal, because the other part of the deal was, I think that for me leaves Liverpool a little bit short of right back. There's no orthodox cover for right back now, apart from Kijana Hova, the youth player. But you obviously got Milner can cover there, you got Fabinho can cover there, you got Joe Gomez can cover there, but none of them are orthodox right backs. So I'd be a little bit concerned if anything would happen to Trent Alexander-Arnold, because it's a little bit of a step down. But we should see.
True.
So Liverpool are seemingly quite lucky with injuries, because I can't really think of any of their players apart from Oxlade-Chamberlain, who was kind of developing into a top level player for them. They've really suffered Van Dijk's not had an injury, Alisson's not had an injury, none of the front three have really suffered injuries. Salah at the end of last season, but obviously missed the summer because of it and was ineffective for Egypt. But for themselves, they've been reasonably lucky.
Mane's had a few niggly ones. It's.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool fans would come back to you though and say it's actually they've had quite their bad luck with injuries has been big impact injuries that have ruled out people for a long time. Like you say, Oxlade-Chamberlain. You've got to remember Lallana. He's been ruled out for months. He came back and then had a little like reniggle of it, and he's a player that Klopp likes to play and would give them more options. But I know what you mean. Like key player injury wise, they've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, that front three, Van Dijk and Alisson. If anyone like you could lose, well, you can't really afford to lose any of them really because of the way the team performs. It's Salah, Van Dijk and Alisson. If any of those get injured, then they're not laughing. But they managed to free up a position. They sold a striker, haven't they, for a mere 17 to 19 million pounds. Dominic Solanke has gone to Bournemouth. The
chief executive or whoever is in charge of transfers going out of Liverpool is incredible. Like, the money that how much did Ibe go for? 15 million was it last year? I think, or 2 seasons ago now. It's just how does he do it? Because Solanke has not really shown anything worthwhile, in my opinion, to spend that sort of money on him. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to solve Bournemouth's problems, put it that way. Or is it a replacement for Callum Wilson?
No, I'd say because Jermaine Defoe's gone to Rangers, so I'd see it as adding some bit there. Maybe not. I don't know. How you'd like to think of a Bournemouth fan, you're adding rather than taking Callum Wilson away. But
you would think that
if that's all, But that's the kind of transfer roundup, I think.
Yeah, it is. The one thing that I find quite interesting is that it's very rare you see a big club selling English or getting rid of English players because of the homegrown rule. So I know Solanke isn't homegrown to Liverpool through the youth academy, but he's homegrown in terms of British. And in Europe, as you said, in Tottenham can't register Juan Foyth, can they? So
no,
it's sort of I find it bizarre that they've let 2 British players go because it's very rare to happen these days with all the homegrown quotas and things like that. But
especially as I suppose, I mean, Klein's obviously alone to come back, but because I'm thinking what else
he won't go back.
So Klein,
Klein won't go back. That'll have a permanent deal at the end of it.
I've got Daniel Sturridge, who I think is out of contract, so that'll be another one going. Whether they feel they can promote Ryan Brewster, maybe they think that he can come in and fill what Solanke had done. Obviously, Oxlade-Chamberlain, is he going to play again this season?
They could call you up to fill in to do what Solanke's done. Sit on the bench.
Very true. It's like Fernando Llorente has played 48 league minutes for us this season.
Oh, man.
He's not suffered an injury. No injury. But it's kind of like, I think I could have played 48 minutes for Tottenham and done as much as Fernando Llorente had done. So, poor old Fernando Llorente, but got his hat-trick, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But I think that leads us nicely into the quiz.
Oh, I do love the quiz. I love a bit of Quiz Kamara. Love it.
Okay. So hopefully, this is all my own work, so hopefully this is right.
Oh, God.
But I'm up for it. I think it is. So, the signing of Dominic Solanke for 19 million Bournemouth, it makes him the 4th most expensive English striker of all time.
Oh, my God. That's a stupid, that's not a stupid stat. That's a very, I wasn't expecting that stat sort of thing.
Yeah.
So have I got to name the 3?
There have been, yes, you've got to name the 3, and then, I mean, you can keep going beyond that if you want, but you've got the first task is to name the 3 above, and then I've got 4 beneath if you can go that far.
English only, yeah?
English only, yeah.
So number 1 has to be Andy Carroll for 50 million, or whatever it was, 35 million, whatever it is they paid.
Yeah.
15 million. No, I'm trying to. It was. How did they do the negotiation? Yeah, they did the negotiation with it was. Oh, that's it. They told Chelsea they had to pay whatever Newcastle wanted for Andy Carroll plus 15 million. Nice. When they did it, yeah, that's how they did it. So Andy Carroll, number 1.
Correct.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm already struggling. English strikers.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there then, Dave. You got your pen and paper ready?
It's already out, and I've written Andy Carroll, number 1. So, yeah.
I love it if someone just finds out. Oh, he's a big fan of Andy Carroll.
yeah. Right. So Solanke was number 4, yeah.
Number 4, yeah. All right, we'll leave it there.
Oh, Sturridge. Is Sturridge in there? Or has he moved on a free every
he's not
time?
both.
Oh, damn. I thought I'd just chuck a name at you. Try and surprise you. Like when I shouted Van Persie really loudly the other day. So, okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll leave it
Oh,
there.
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney, yes.
Yeah. Number 2.
Number 2. Well done.
Obviously, Wayne Rooney.
A little bit more successful than Andy Carroll's.
Yeah,
move.
yeah. I'd say very more successful, but yeah. Okay, right. We'll come back to that.
Very more successful. Would you?
Yeah, shut up. That's how they say it in Singapore. That's the correct.
Oh, right, okay.
That's Singlish. That's Singlish for you.
I was about to do a Singaporean accent, but that would have been inappropriate.
Also, I'd like to know what a Singaporean accent is to you, Josh.
That would have been somewhat generic Asian.
Yes,
accent.
that's what I thought.
No one wants to hear.
Right, moving on.
Moving on. We have the
FA
review
Cup.
of the week's football. Yeah, FA Cup weekend.
Do you like the FA Cup weekends? Do you like it, or do they get in the way?
It's a slight improvement. So I'll rank it: Premier League weekend, FA Cup weekend, and then international weekend. So that's my ranking of it, and so it's a bit better than if it was an international break, but worse than it was a Premier League weekend.
Okay, all right then. Yeah, I could probably agree.
So I don't
with
mind
that.
it.
So
I do like seeing sides play away, Premier League sides playing away at lower league grounds. That is a big favourite.
I agree. I was going to say that, and this weekend has had a few shocks, hasn't it? So start us off, mate. Go for it.
We'll start off with the Friday night game.
Okay.
Which was a little bit ridiculous. So Spurs, Tranmere versus Spurs. So again, yes, we get to see Spurs play at a lower league ground. The pitch is cutting up a bit. They had some less adequate players.
Well
and
phrased.
it was going all right for them. Yeah. I think it may have only been 1-0 at half time.
It was, yeah. Serge Aurier. 1-0 at half time.
Serge Aurier, people were talking about a fantastic goal. It took a deflection, people. As soon as a shot takes deflection, it's no longer a fantastic goal, right? Let's leave it there. But then we just kept on scoring and scoring. I mean, Fernando Llorente got a hat-trick. Aurier was going for his hat-trick. He bagged a couple, and then he was in a similar position outside the box, shifted onto his left foot, and then ballooned it high, wide and handsome. You then have a shot of the bench, all just kind of laughing, thinking he's going for his bloody hat-trick here.
Yeah.
But it was really good to see Spurs do that. I mean, we then brought Harry Kane on at 6-0, which was
I saw your tweet.
Impressive. Yeah, but then hearing Poch's comments after the game was like, I wanted people very rarely get to play against Harry Kane at this level. Fans want to see Harry Kane. He's an icon of English football. So I think I applaud him for bringing it on. I wouldn't have been applauding him if he got injured. So
I think
it worked out all right in the end.
Yeah, an injury only would have occurred if it would have been a muscle thing, and you would imagine they would have warmed him up properly to not get a muscle injury. Because most of the Tranmere players will probably be English, like being generic at lower league football, as I don't know much about it, but I imagine most of the Tranmere players are English, or maybe, Welsh, they probably would try and injure him, but I'd be very surprised if an English person nowadays who isn't an Arsenal fan would try and hurt Harry Kane, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, I was worried that maybe they didn't do it intentionally, but they were kind of just inadvertently did it. But there's a player, Manny Monti, absolute beast of a centre back, who's just kind of he honestly is a big lad. I think he must have been 6'4", 6'5", just a massive. But I was like, please don't just step on him. But Kane delivered another finish. But it was nice once Kane had been brought on. Spurs had 5 youth players in the lineup. We had Kyle Walker-Peters, Oliver Skipp, and then Kane came on, Ioma came on, and Marsh came on. So it was really nice to see we had 5 homegrown players on the pitches at one time.
Nice. So that hat-trick for Llorente, what does that take his goal tally to? I was actually just trying to find it up to see how many goals he's actually scored for Spurs.
For Spurs, I'd say he's probably around about 12, something like that. 13.
Okay.
In all competitions?
Yeah, in all competitions, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say about that.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Interesting. If that's true, then he scored 11 of them in the Cup, because he's only scored 1 goal in the league for you. So.
Has he?
According to Wikipedia,
impressive.
And that's where we get all of our facts from, Josh.
Yeah.
As part of the wiki files, yeah. He's only scored one goal.
That's really quite upsetting. He's only scored one. But, we're in other competitions. We need goals in other competitions as well. But, yeah, so that puts Spurs into the next round.
Fourth round.
Then we move on to... Yeah. We move on to Saturday's games. And so, obviously, Dave and I are both from Kent. And there is only, amazingly, especially as I have family in Lancashire, where there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 league clubs within like walking distance. We have one league club in Kent, don't we, Dave?
We do, yeah. The fabulous Gills.
Yeah, Michael Gillingham, and they managed to beat our favourite Premier League opposition, Cardiff, 1-0.
It was, yeah. I mean, Cardiff, let's be honest, they weren't playing for the FA Cup. They are fighting for the league, and that was very adamant, or very obvious, sorry, by them.
Fighting to stay in the league. Let's not get carried away.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fighting to stay in the league, and that was very obvious by the team they put out. So,
yeah, there's a bit of a running theme here, but the sides who suffered embarrassment were often maybe struggling a little bit in the league, or made a number of changes, and so yeah, that's what Covent Garden made 7-8 changes, and one of them was in goal, and I don't quite know. The keeper was kind of guessing. Yeah. So Elliot List shaped to whip it into the far corner, and the goalkeeper kind of fell away, but he then whipped it down the middle of the goal, which was not great. But yeah, Gillingham into next round, fourth round, to see what they can do.
It is good. Yeah, it's good. I mean, the goalkeeper that was in goal for Cardiff is Alex Smithies, and I had
Alex Smithies, yeah.
Yeah, used to play for Huddersfield.
Yes, he did.
Used to be like the one level below a Wonder Kid on Football Manager in goal.
He was always highly rated, wasn't he?
Yeah, that didn't pan out, did it?
No. You never know. So, he's still in his 20s, isn't he? Must be late 20s?
28, yeah. 28.
28, yeah.
So...
But yeah. So,
well
a
done,
Premier League in the Cup dumpster. We then moved to... I mean, we're sticking to where people have lived, so we moved down to the West Country where you were for a while, Dave, and we had Bristol City versus Huddersfield. Another Premier League struggler, lost 8 on the bounce, and they continue to lose. It was just poor old Huddersfield. They'd signed a couple of players that maybe Jason Puncham played.
Yeah, that's useless.
Really, yeah.
Useless signing.
Yeah, he was all right a few years ago, wasn't he? He was all right, but never anything special.
He's not going to get you out of trouble.
Jayden Brown from Spurs, left back who's never played senior football, and Jason Puncham, now ageing centre midfielder, probably most notable for injuring Kevin De Bruyne last season.
Haven't they got him on loan from the Championship?
Who?
Jason Puncham.
He was at Palace, wasn't he?
I thought Palace had sold him. Are you having a quick check?
Yeah.
I swear Palace...
He's on loan from Palace.
Oh, okay. All right then. Fair enough. Okay, well, all right, I've got my facts wrong. All right, bloody hell.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. This quiz is going to go well for you, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely not number 3, is he, on the list? Jason Puncham.
But no, a player who stood out was Josh Brown, who grabbed a goal, lovely little turn and finish, and a lovely little burst of pace on the opposite wing to have another shot. So I really enjoyed seeing the highlights of him play. So I hope Bristol City fans, if you're listening, is he a player to watch out for? Is he going to step up to the Premier League? Who knows?
Yeah, interesting one. Was that a predictable? I mean, if you're looking at if you were doing an accumulator, maybe you probably wouldn't have gone for Gillingham over Cardiff, but would you have put Huddersfield to lose to Bristol City?
I think when you've got lower league sides playing against Premier League strugglers and they're at home, I'd probably go for it. Like today we have Fulham versus Oldham. Fulham at home. They're normally quite good in the third round of a cup. I wouldn't be betting on Fulham, but I might go for Woking versus Watford.
Okay.
I might, big game for Woking, but probably the biggest game in the last like 20 years of their history, so that'd be an interesting one there. But Watford have got some good first team players, but whether they can match it with their reserves, if they're going to switch it up a bit, I'd be interested to watch that one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We'll move on to cover East Anglia now. So Ipswich and Norwich both faced. Both championship sides faced lower league opposition, and neither came out on top. We had Accrington Stanley at home to Ipswich, and it was 1-0 to Accrington Stanley. There was a little bit of coverage on BBC on Football Focus, and there's a little lad was asked by Dan Walker, "What's the score going to be?" It was like 1-0 Accrington. Billy Key, I think it is, score. It's like,
Yeah.
and that is exactly what happened. So he can take. Hopefully, he put a bet on. That 8-year-old put a bet on in the bookies.
Yeah.
Or his dad, maybe. His dad, hopefully. I don't know what we're like in Accrington. Maybe kids going to bookies. Who knows? But it's just Ipswich. Do you know who Ipswich are managed by these days?
Paul Lambert. I do know
Paul
who they're managed by.
Lambert, the ever-inspiring Paul Lambert.
Josh, you think I'm some sort of unprofessional podcast host? I've done my research, mate. They're 10 points adrift of safety in the Championship. They are fucked.
Yeah, and Norwich are the other end of the scale, but they still managed to lose. So Norwich faced Portsmouth. It was did Norwich and Portsmouth ever play in the Premier League? I was thinking this after they played. Did they ever play in the Premier League at the same time? Because both had very fleeting spells in the Premier League. Did they overlap?
I'm gonna say yes, but we'll have to ask our mate Jim probably.
Yeah.
We'll have to. Maybe that's a question for Jim.
Yeah. Because it seems like it's a Premier League match of old, but did it ever happen? But yeah, Portsmouth looked pretty good in this match. Actually, there was some really good. It didn't help by Grant Hanley getting sent off in the 15th minute for a shockingly late mistimed challenge as last man that opened the game up. But it could have won by either side, but it was a 95th minute counter-attack wins this match. That has got to be somewhat satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it when there's a last-minute counter-attack. In a game that you don't really care about, when there's something like that wins it, you're sort of like, oh, you get a bit of glee, don't you? And it's always good fun. Andre Green that scored it, I quite liked him when I lived in Birmingham and went to see the youth team at Villa and stuff when we were bored and basically before we started drinking. I saw him play quite a few times for the youth team or whatever they were called then, under 19s or whatever it was, and he always stood out as one of the better players. And I always thought he'd be quite good, but obviously he is quite young, so he's got a bit of time ahead of him.
Yeah,
but
he's only on loan at Portsmouth, but he should have passed. He ran through, had a shot blocked, should have laid it to his left, and the player could have swept home. But it's a nice finish, nice little prodded home. But yeah, if he hadn't gone in, his teammate beside him would have been absolutely fuming.
Yeah.
But there were the shocks. A couple of Championship sides, a couple of Premier League sides dumped out. We'll cover the big hitters now. So we had obviously Spurs went through, Chelsea went through, but it was good to see
Fabregas miss a penalty.
Sorry.
Sorry, you were going for the actual positive thing. I was going for the sarcastic positive. Yeah.
Fabregas. I hate a stuttering penalty, and that was not great.
Yeah, that's.
But Hudson Doyle obviously been linked with Bayern Munich in the last week after Pulisic signs for Chelsea. It doesn't shows that they really don't trust their own youth players, because I think both are fantastic players, both similar kind of direct.
I think next season, I think you could see Chelsea lining up with Hudson-Odoi on one wing and Pulisic on the other. Because I think Pedro's getting on, and I don't think Sarri rates him. And I don't think Willian fits into how Sarri wants to play. So unless they're going to buy another... Because Hazard is going to go. That's what I think. So I think they could have quite a youthful front three, potentially.
Problem is, that's not Sarri's way. Sarri plays to win. He's said before that he can't... He's not going to... I need to win. I don't need to blood youth players. He's in the kind of Mourinho mould.
I'm not saying to blood them. I think that's what they'll not to blood them. I think that'll be their starting two wingers next year: Hudson-Odoi and Christian Pulisic.
That is a brave statement, Dave.
Well, I think I'm sticking with it. And if we remember, we can come back to this podcast and I can laugh at you because I'm right.
Listeners, hold him to this because I will forget. And, But it was good for Morata, although bad for Morata. You see Morata's fortunately offside miss.
Yes, it was horrendous.
It's absolutely horrific. His body is in the wrong position. He just spoons it up in the air with his left foot. Awful.
He's off, isn't he? He's off, surely.
He is.
He didn't celebrate really, did he? The goal. So.
No. But that puts Nottingham Forest out. We then had a very empty Broomfield Road, is it? At Blackpool, because they're doing their ethical
protest
against the convicted rapist Oliver Oyston.
Is it what? Is he convicted rapist?
Yeah, convicted rapist.
When did that all come out?
Oh, ages ago.
Oh, I just thought they were just protesting because he ran the club really shit.
Oh, well, I mean,
that's been going on for years, isn't it? The protest about running the club has been going on for years. I didn't know he was.
Yeah, I mean, they're not protesting because he's a convicted rapist. They're they're protesting because he runs a club horrifically, and is just in it for making their own money and not for the fans. I mean, I think he tried to bankrupt the owner of the head of the supporters trust at one point because he criticised them on Twitter. He's just they're just vile. They just need to be out of the club, and so yeah, that's why he had an empty stadium.
Okay, is he actually a convicted rapist though?
Yeah, he got sentenced to 6 years in prison.
Bloody hell! I didn't know that. Wow, there you go. Bloody hell! Yeah, get him out of the club, Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was nice to see again some youth players getting some game time for a top level club. So, is it Willock got a couple
Joe
of
Willock,
goals?
yeah,
and Ketia started. So it was nice to see. They played a bit of Europa League football as well, haven't they? So it was never really a contest for. I thought maybe Blackpool could have caused them some problems. They played quite physically, but no, Arsenal were. There's no match for Arsenal.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, just while we're talking about Arsenal, because Iwobi scored, what's your thoughts on Iwobi?
He's got better.
Yeah.
But he's still... I don't think any other top 6 side would take him if he became available. Say if he was in a situation that Ramsey's in now, it wouldn't be a Juventus looking for him. It wouldn't be...
No chance. But it's just interesting.
I don't know who would be interesting. Yeah.
Like on the website that I do most of my football reading, Football 365 had a very good article which I'm just trying to find now about Alex Iwobi, and it's a very interesting read to see. It's all about sort of like fans appreciating what players do, and it's basically the article basically says that no matter what Iwobi does going forward, he'll always have that stigmatism of being rubbish, like he was at the first sort of half of the season and the back end of last season. And it was just it's just a very interesting article. I'll try and dig it out and leave it in the description of the YouTube video if I can find it, but it's definitely worth a read if you're on Football 365 and you search for Iwobi. I'm sure it will come up. So yeah, just again, interesting read from that website.
Right. We'll then move on to United. Obviously, you're seeing away Reading. You've seen the highlights of this. One thing I didn't realise.
I watched it, Josh. I watched it.
Whoa, John O'Shea plays for Reading now.
He does, yeah, he does. And he was in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's last game. Him and John O'Shea came on at the same time as substitutes.
Really?
Little fact for you, yeah. In Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's last game. They came on and then Didier Drogba scored about 10 minutes later, I think, and Chelsea won the League Cup or FA Cup. One of the two. It was in a final. Oh. But yes, massive tangent, but yeah, John O'Shea does play for Reading. Yeah, interesting one. What's your thoughts? Have you seen the highlights? Did you watch the game?
I have seen. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Juan Mata's penalty? Like building up to it, is it offside? Was the right decision made? Was the VAR used correctly?
So Lukaku is offside.
Yeah.
But I think he's slightly interfering with play because the defender who then comes in to make a challenge on Mata. Almost, he can't quite make his normal challenge because Lukaku stood in his way a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's all too close for him to be not interfering because he's right there, and so obviously it is a foul. Like ignoring the offside, it would be a foul there. But I feel that I don't know. It's the most awkward kind of sequences of play. I think it'd been. The right decision was made, but I could see why the argument was made otherwise for making it not a penalty.
I agree, and I think if VAR didn't exist, I think what would have happened if the ref would have blown, given a penalty because he sees the foul and doesn't know where Lukaku's standing in relation to it, and then he would have gone and chatted to the linesman, and the linesman would have ruled it out for offside, and it would have been a free kick to Reading. Is what I think. If without VAR, that's what I think would have happened without VAR, because they generally always favour. They would always favour to not give a penalty, generally, referees, won't they? If there's a way that something... And I agree with you. I think Lukaku was inadvertently interfering with play.
Yeah,
he wasn't actually
obstruct.
interfering with play. Yeah, he was just the defender. Yeah. That defender that is, again, I was going to say Lukaku blocks off, but he doesn't even really block him off. It's just that he stops him making the tackle you would expect a defender to make, and I do think the right conclusion was come to through VAR, but it's a very sort of contentious one, and it sort of goes to prove that VAR can't solve everything and make everybody happy.
No, because there's still humans. There and nothing's ever crystal clear. But I thought I was quite impressed with Reading. Reading played some really good attacking football. Just had no end product really. They really could not finish for toffee.
I felt very bad for John Swift because was it John Swift? Yeah, I think it is, in the central midfield for Reading, because he had a really good game, but he did two things that basically cost Reading the game. One of them, I think he was through on goal, and the ball bounced back to him on the edge of the area, and he actually had a shot, and David De Gea made a really good save, so that's not too bad, but he should have scored. And the second one was his really sloppy pass that fell to Mata, who played it into Alexis Sanchez, who then set up Lukaku for the second goal. But yeah, Reading played really well. 57% possession or something they had at Old Trafford. They had more shots than us. I think this sort of goes to show, the blame isn't solely on Mourinho as much as I thought. It's mainly his fault. But I mean, Fred and Pereira in midfield look rubbish. They got outplayed by a Reading midfield, and I don't ever see Scott McTominay being a Premier League centre midfielder. I just don't. No. He's literally he's just tall. He's really tall, and he works quite hard.
Is he that tall? Is he?
Yeah, he is quite tall. But when you compare him to I guess a prime example is Harry Winks at Spurs. I would much take Harry Winks over McTominay because Harry Winks can pass a ball, and what Harry Winks' role is in the midfield. Whereas Scott McTominay, I was never really sure what he was meant to be doing in that midfield. So, I just wasn't too impressed with the whole midfield, and it was just a bit. It looked really lost without Pogba, which I guess you could say is good because Pogba's our most expensive player and most expensive signing, so that's great. But you also want the likes of Fred at 52 million to be able to come in and dominate the midfield against Reading, which
you say Pogba's most expensive. Fred's still pretty damn expensive.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. But it was good to see Sanchez. I thought Sanchez had a pretty decent game, actually, other than picking up another injury. Hopefully he won't be out for too long, but he did look more lively. And obviously Lukaku, the goals will do him good. He scored off the bench 2 games in a row and then scored on this start as well. So. Yeah, it's just the whole feel-good factor. The crowd seems better. The players seem more like they're enjoying it more, and it's just good to see. And a good win puts us into the next round. And I think Solskjaer might be going for this like he means it. I think the FA Cup.
Well, he did speak about the importance of a cup and how much he enjoyed the cup, and it's big in their history. So I think he'd see this as a nice fillip on his CV to be able to go, you know what, I've got this. So I think, I agree. He'll try to do his best for top 4. It's not. I don't think it's a deal. Got top 4 would be amazing, but I don't think anyone's really expecting it because of how far adrift he was. But the FA Cup is definitely very winnable for him. 2 highlights for me from this match was one, Rashford running through on goal and managed to run it out and slip over the ball itself.
Yeah, that was good
fun. Actually, 3 Jones face plant. He's managed to face.
Have you seen the photo?
I have seen the photo
where it says New Year, same old Phil Jones. It's just brilliant. I'm going to try and get that on the thumbnail for YouTube.
And then there was the Alexis Sanchez sitting in Solskjaer's seat, which was quite.
Yeah. That was quite good. It was quite funny. So.
Just one last game I'd like to just quickly cover was Southampton Derby versus Southampton. Southampton started well. 2 goals from Nuno Espirito Santos' son, Nathan Redmond.
We
just to send you a picture. Yeah.
Just to put a bit of clarification on this, Josh and I, when I was back in the UK, Josh and I managed to go and watch. I think West Ham Southampton, wasn't it, at the pub?
Southampton.
Yeah, and all Josh banged on about was, doesn't he look a lot like Nuno Espirito Santo? I swear he's Nuno Espirito's son, and then promptly showed me lots of photos of Nuno Espirito Santo and held it up to the screen every time Nathan Redmond was on the TV. But yeah, so Josh has got a little bit of an obsession with this.
I do like a doppelganger. I found it quite fun, so I've created a little bit for you to put on the podcast tape. You can see father and son. But yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't get 2 goals because the first one.
Yeah, all right, I'll take it.
The first one should probably go down as an own goal because I think it was whipping wide. But I was really impressed with Derby's play. It was the main point of this. I thought that Dwayne Holmes looked really good in possession, can shift the ball and run with it well. There was some good finishing. Frank Lampard's style of play that he's getting his players to play. It seems very creative and quite young, English. He's benefited from his reputation, getting some loan deals, I think. But yeah, well done Derby for coming back into it.
That's an interesting thing that you say there. That his reputation allows him to get loan deals in. Do you think that? Do you think that really helps? Yeah, I think I've never really thought about it. Yeah.
I'd signed Defoe on loan. I'd imagine that is linked to a direct link. I'd say.
Okay.
Maybe some England time. He knows Gerrard a little bit, or just they're the kind of the similar era players, and I think Lampard's pulled from his kind of Chelsea connections, getting a couple of players on loan from there. There's a Liverpool connection as well, but I think it's just that they're known entities, and then also they're now giving young players. I think clubs must hate it when they're on loan and doesn't play them. You think what a waste, but if you're playing players like what Derby are, he's more likely to get the better players on loan because he's going to give them game time. They're playing good football. They're up in the league. I think it only breeds good things for Lampard and Gerrard if they get the best out of loan players.
Yeah, very nice. I guess. Yeah, true.
All right. So cool. Yeah, the 4th round awaits. So there's a few more games today. Obviously, City and Liverpool still have to play, but I'm looking forward to the Woking Watford match. I think that'll be and then Newport versus Leicester match. I think both could be quite exciting matches. It's lower league versus Premier League.
I think Woking Watford is the game that I can watch over here in Singapore. Weirdly, so I think that's the one I'll be watching.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I think for the cup games we basically get over here. We get whatever's on BT Sport, and I think it's Woking Watford that's on BT Sport. I think, strangely.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll be tuning into that hopefully. Cool. All right then. So I don't know. Are we going to review? We probably won't review the rest of the games next week, will we? Oh well, I'm not here next week, so it depends who your guest host is. Oh my
goodness!
But
yes.
Yeah. So all right then. So leaving the review, Josh. Do you know what time it is?
I do. Sing it, Dave. Hit it.
I got a wiki file. You want a wiki file? I got a wiki file for you. Hey! Right, so Josh, I've sent you a wiki file for this week. And before we recorded, I told him, he asked me, have you got your wiki file ready? And I'd had a little, yeah. Because it's either going to be one he gets very, very quickly or not at all. But there is a reason why I've picked this person. So
yeah. So why did you pick Alexander? Why did you pick Alexander Hebb?
Cheers, Josh. I told you to get it quickly. What gave it away? I bet there's one bit in there that gave it away.
I'm looking at Barty Borisov. I'm like, Christ Almighty! This is a lot of stints at Barty Borisov here. So he had a youth career at Barty Borisov. Then he amazingly doesn't then play for them as a senior career to begin with. He plays for Dynamo Minsk, then goes back to Barty Borisov for his first professional stint.
No, wrong, Josh. No? Wrong. If you look, he actually made senior appearances for Dynamo Minsk whilst in his youth career at Dynamo Minsk. And then I think he moved to Barty Borisov on a youth contract and then played for them.
Oh, so they must have loaned him out at a young age.
Yeah.
Before he made he comes in and makes his debut, but only plays for a season. Then Stuttgart sign him up, and they play him in a second side, and then that's where he spends the majority of his and then Arsenal signed him, and he was a good player. He was a nippy, 2-footed, dribbling machine. He always seemed a bit weak for me, a bit weak on the ball and a bit weak in the shot, but he had some good direct dribbling, and obviously Barcelona took a fancy, but that did not work out for him because league appearances for him, scoring 0 goals. So he then tried it back at Stuttgart, and you try and rekindle the old kind of the old flame, don't you? Go back to where it is familiar. Yeah, that stint at Birmingham, didn't he?
He did, yeah, he did.
Yeah. But then he gets sold and he goes to that's got to be Eastern Europe, Eastern Bloc somewhere. But then he goes on to have 1, 2, 3, 4 more stints at Bate Borisov. That is.
Not just that. Not just the Bate Borisov thing is interesting, but look at the clubs he goes to in between. It's the same clubs, and because he goes back to that Kriya Sovetos Samara club as well.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
He likes going back. Yeah, so he plays for Stuttgart twice. He plays for Bate Borisov 5 times. He plays for, I think, is a Turkish side, which
Gülkenbergil.
Nice, twice. Thanks. Yeah, and he plays for Sovetov Samara twice. Yeah,
and not just that,
Josh. He's a creature
of
habit, isn't he?
Not just that. He is currently playing for Bate Borisov, and this is why I picked him, because he's in my Football Manager save. My scout found him, and I was like, "There's no way this can be the same Alexander Hleb," and he is still playing. He is still playing for Bate Borisov right now. He has not retired from football. He has not retired from international football either. So, although I don't think he's getting picked anymore, but. Yeah, is interesting, and he has some interesting facts about him. When he was based in Germany, playing for Stuttgart, his nickname was Zauberlehrling, which loosely translates to the Sorcerer's Apprentice for his silky skills and dazzling tricks.
Oh, nice!
So there
kind
you go.
Like how David Silva's called Merlin.
Yeah, exactly. And then a bit of a weird thing that I don't really see very often on Wikipedia pages. There's just a section that says personal life. And it's not really that much to do with him. It's just someone's got, these are interesting facts, I'll put these in here. So, while playing for Arsenal, Hebb lived in Hampstead, North London. That was one of them. In 2003, he was involved in a car crash in Minsk. A passenger in the other car later died. His younger brother, Yelches, is also a footballer. Hleb was married to Anastasia Kuzanovkov, an ex-singer of the Belarusian pop group Topless from 2000 until 2014. And the final little personal life bullet point is, in an interview with the Guardian newspaper, Hleb confirmed the biggest regret of his life was leaving Arsenal to join Barcelona. So, there you go. Not his failed marriage. Yeah.
A fun fact, remember, his younger brother now doesn't play football anymore, so his younger brother. So you can't find him in. Somewhat linked, mainly due to the Eastern European nature and the Arsenal link, did you see the headline from Andrei Arshavin the other week?
No.
It was something along the lines of Andrei Arshavin seen leaving a strip club, hugging 2 women and leaving on a horse.
What?
Yeah, he was filmed leaving a strip club on a horse with 2 women on his arm.
That is incredible. How did they all fit on a horse?
I think it was more he left with 2 women, then went on the horse, rather than they're hugging them on either side of the horse.
I've just
people
Googled
were not on the horse. Yeah.
Married former Arsenal star Andrei Arshavin at centre of storm after riding horse when leaving striptease club and tightly hugging 2 women. He was recently hired as the head of a new youth football project. Brilliant way to celebrate. What a way to celebrate. Yeah. Incredible.
Arsenal fans, who do you remember more fondly, Andrei Arshavin or both similar players?
Arshavin. He scored 4 goals against Liverpool, so I bet they say Arshavin.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it?
Is it Arshavin or Arshavin? Arshavin.
I imagine we pronounce a lot of names wrong.
We,
as in the English Football League fraternity, and us too.
And us too, yeah. So, yeah. All right, good wiki file, Josh. I'm glad you got it very quickly because you always make me look like a twat. So, I'm gonna get a really hard one for you in 2 weeks. That's what she said.
Oh, I bet you will. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah.
Right then. You put out a poll, Josh. Let's move on.
I put out a poll. It was linked to the FA Cup, and I asked, would you rather your side finish in the top 4 or win the FA Cup? So how did you vote, Dave?
I begrudgingly... Because
obviously it's very pertinent to you, isn't it?
It is. I begrudgingly said top 4. Which is...
Well, I've realised I never voted on this because I could not decide.
Yeah, I was very much like I couldn't decide, and then I ruled with very much heart over head, and head over heart, and went top 4 because there's a bit deep inside me that's like the FA Cup is the FA Cup, and that's what that's what you should strive for, and it's the best cup competition in England. In world football, you could argue it's the best domestic cup competition in world football, and I really wanted to vote for it, but I couldn't. I had to be sensible and say nowadays it's all about the top four.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we had conflicting responses. I mean, overall, top four did win. 64% said top four, 36% said win the FA Cup. But so Brett Higgins said that he grew up in the glory days of the Cup, and it was more of an event than the League or the European Cup at the time, and so he could never say no to winning the Cup. But then Shiv was like, the FA Cup is losing its charm. I think I'd love to win it, but the top four leads to bigger and better things, or money and I think you kind of carry favour with the pundits and because you're a top four. But and I'd also state this, that if, say for example, if Pochettino had delivered 3 FA Cup wins in the last 3 years instead of 3 top four finishes, I'm sure he'll be able to do that because he would have been in the job. I don't think if he'd failed to get top four and won the FA Cups, I think he'd have been sacked.
Really? Okay. That is mightily interesting. So you'd think if he had won, let's say he'd won an FA Cup every year, you had made the top four, but you finished 5th. You reckon he would have been sacked?
I think, yeah. Obviously, it depends on outside of it. It could have been finishing 5th, maybe he'd kept the job. But if it had been like 7th, 8th, 9th finishes in FA Cup, I think he could have well faced a sack.
I think he would have been poached by a different club, because he would have had that elusive trophy, and that's what a lot of people are saying. Oh, you can't hire him because he's never won a trophy. But
so be it. I'm happy with that.
yeah. Well, I thought he would be.
But this year, I really want to win the FA Cup. It's just got to a point now where we just need to shut some people up. If we win the League Cup, I think it won't shut people up enough. If we win the League and FA Cup, it will shut people up. If we win the FA Cup, it won't. It will be like, oh, you haven't won a Champions League or a League. Yeah, so.
You've always said that it's like that, the monkey on the back, isn't it, for Spurs? Just to win a cup would be great. So I'd have nothing against Spurs winning a cup. It'd be very nice. So what happens to the European spot if you qualify for the Champions League but you win the FA Cup? Does your Europa League spot from the cup go to the other semi-finalists, or go to the league? The other finalists?
It's different between the two cups, and I can never remember which way it is. One of them goes to the losing finalist, and one of them goes down to the league, I think. But because obviously like Millwall qualified one year, didn't they?
Yeah, because we beat them in the cup.
Yeah. But no, I can never remember which way it is. But do you reckon it would regain its charm? I mean, to Shiv's comment about losing its charm, do you reckon if it was to offer a Champions League spot, do you reckon that would make things more or less interesting?
No, I don't think it will ever be interesting because it's not lucrative. I know even if you give it a Champions League spot, it makes it a little bit more lucrative. But I love the FA Cup. I think it's great. But for the everyday football fan sort of thing, I think it'll always be the league and always be top four. I struggle to think of a way you can make the FA Cup more interesting, other than just by scrapping the League Cup and making it the only cup competition that the big teams can enter. I
think if you were to give Champions League football to it, it would make it less interesting, because you'd just find that it would be your main people at the end. Like Premier League sides, like Tottenham wouldn't have rested players; they'd have gone all out for it, and you'd see less lower league upsets because the Evertons, the Leicesters would really go for hammer and tong for it. They wouldn't leave themselves open to any defeat because they're like, this is really big lure. It wouldn't make any difference for you, because I don't think any championship, maybe the top level championship, but the rest of the championship or League 1, League 2 do it because they think they're going to win it. They want to just beat the top level sides who come to a stadium. If the other teams are more up for it, that's going to be less likely to happen. So it would lead to less cup upsets. I think it'd lose magic. Keep it a Europa League, and I think the trophy is enough for some clubs. A lot of clubs probably wouldn't really care about it getting Europa League on the back of it.
Yeah, I think the cup. I think winning the cup itself is actually quite a big thing for the players. I think it's the fans that sort of are disinterested in it. It's like the League Cup. I think a player that wins the League Cup, I think I've never seen sort of the Community Shield, for example, has half-assed celebrations when you win it by everybody, players, fans, manager. No one really gives a shit.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But even the League Cup, when you see players win the League Cup, they still like proper hoist the trophy up and celebrate.
Yeah, they are going for it, aren't they? Yeah.
So, and I don't think the players care. I think the players would say, if there was enough time in the fixture list to have them all spread out on like every game being on a Saturday, so you don't have loads of midweek games, I think they'd be like, well, pick me every single game. Let's go and win everything. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Let us know down below and in the comments and stuff. What do you think about the FA Cup and how could you regain its charm? What sort of ideas would you pitch to the FA about it? So yeah, interesting. All right then. So the way we always round out the podcast these days, Josh, is with me getting 100% on the quiz questions.
Yeah. So what's going to be, Dave?
I hope so.
So the quiz was Dominic Solanke, his transfer from Liverpool to Bournemouth has led him to be the fourth most expensive English striker of all time. At 19 million, he has three higher. Dave has currently got number 1 and 2 right. Andy Carroll at 35 million. Wayne Rooney at 30 million. Who is number 3, Dave?
I've said Alan Shearer, but now I think he moved for 15. I thought it was like 20, but is it 15?
It is 15.
Oh, so I don't have number 3.
No, you do not have number 3.
Oh, I'm not going to get 100%.
This player, I presume he's still playing, and maybe...
Hang on. If I rattle off some names, can you tell me if they're on your list? Because you said you got the 3 or 4 below it as well.
Oh my goodness, player on loan at Burton Albion. Alright, okay. Go.
Darren Bent.
Darren Bent is 3.
On loan at Burton Albion. That's what gave me that. Right.
Yeah.
Then Alan Shearer, obviously. Below
Alan
Solanke.
Shearer, 15 million. Yeah.
Alan Smith. Technically, he was signed when he was a striker.
Yes, but he's beneath my list. But I think he was around 11, 12, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. 12 million. Okay. So you're looking around 15 million for the rest of the list, pretty much.
Yeah, 15 million is as low as it gets.
Oh, wow. I shouldn't... Peter Crouch?
No.
Oh, wow. How much did he sign for Liverpool for? I thought he was up there. 15 million. Oh.
Yeah.
Is this because you've done the research yourself? So I could well be right, but...
You could be right, but I imagine it falls slightly under it. So the other players, one is retired, one is now on loan, and the other is leaving on a free this summer.
Oh my word! Okay.
11 million he was signed for.
Wow! Give me the club he signed for.
Oh, so who? 16 million, 15 million. The ones you're missing. So there's 2 at 16 million. One's retired and one is playing in the top 4 side.
What, at the moment?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Who the hell is that? Do Arsenal have an English striker? Danny Welbeck.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
16 million. The missing player for 16 million kind of took over Robbie Fowler's mantle when
Michael
he
Owen
got injured, and Michael Owen, and the last one on the list is just signed on loan for a Scottish club.
Jermaine Defoe.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So Defoe moved to Spurs for 15 million.
Yes, or Portsmouth. I think it's very.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Welbeck obviously Man United to Arsenal, and Michael Owen to Newcastle.
Yeah, so Newcastle signed a couple of those. Arsenal, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Man United, Liverpool. But Dominic Solanke's obviously... I mean, the market's changed a lot since these transfers went through, but Dominic Solanke's got 1 league goal. The others had all been reasonably proven for at least a season or 2. Maybe not. Andy Carroll had a season in the Prem season.
It'd be interesting to know with, like, inflation and how they can adjust prices for the modern market. What is Alan Shearer's 15 or 16 million or whatever it was, or 19 million in today's money? That'd be quite interesting. In fact, for all of those, it'd be interesting to see how it actually compares with Solanke. So,
very true.
Yeah, good quiz. Good quiz.
Thank you. On that, it was an interesting bit I watched during the week was Premier League World, and it had Keith Gillespie on there.
Oh yeah.
And it was very interesting. It was just a chat of his career, really, and it was very interesting to hear him talk about different managers, but also interesting talking about his gambling addiction.
Yeah, he released a book on it, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking about how there was one game, I can't remember who he was against, but he was playing for Newcastle at the time, and he bet £500 on Beardsley to score, and then on some doubles from that, so it'd been 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, I think up to 3-0, and the game had scored. It was going his way at 3-0. He was set to win 52 grand at 3-0. Then I think Darren Peacock stepped up later on in the second half and scored to make it 4-0. And you can see Keith Gillespie trudging back, shaking his head after that goal to the halfway line. And in fact, he's just lost 52 grand at that point. It's really interesting to see that.
That's interesting.
Like,
yeah.
If you saw that at the time, you'd think, why is he shaking his head? And you could have thought, oh, weird. Why that is, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. I wonder if he sends Darren Peacock a Christmas card. But yeah, no, we shouldn't joke about gambling. But yeah, no, it is an interesting thing to see, and if like those sorts of things, because it seems to be quite a rife thing, doesn't it? Footballers betting. I don't know so much anymore because there's so many risks and stuff that come with it from your actual playing career. But yeah, seems to be quite a lot of it back in the day, back when the Premiership sort of just began and things like that. So yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. But that's going to bring us to the end, Josh, because we're out of time. So
out of time,
out of mind. It's been a very good podcast. I've enjoyed it. It's our first FA Cup podcast, I think, of the
it is, isn't it?
Football Talk, which is strange because we started this. When did we start this? Beginning of May.
Just tail end, yeah.
Yeah.
Tail end of the season. So yeah. Who's going to win the FA Cup, Dave?
Man United.
Tottenham.
No.
We'll see. Predictions have been made.
In the comments, let us know who's going to win the FA Cup: Man United, Tottenham, or somebody else. Gillingham. Come on, you Gills.
Who needs to win it the most?
Oh,
who needs to win an FA Cup win?
That's a very good question. Who needs it? Tottenham.
Yeah.
But yeah, right, cool.
All right.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody. It's goodbye from me. No, it's not, because I haven't done the plugs, have I?
Hey, there we go.
I always forget because people just know who we are, Josh, so we don't need to plug it anymore.
Oh, we're just such a household name.
Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter at Football Talk, but
remember, there's no A in football.
Thank you, Josh. You can also find us on SoundCloud and YouTube, which I think are now both downloadable to take with you wherever you go. So you can watch and listen later on during the day if you don't want to use all your data up. But I think we're worth it. I think we're worth using up your data. Search for us at Football Talk. We come up at the top of the list on both YouTube and SoundCloud, which is very, very nice indeed. So leave your comments in the descriptions below on either the video or the audio files, and we will be chatting to you very, very soon. Well, Josh will be chatting to you next week with hopefully a mystery guest.
Whoa.
So, yes. But thank you all for listening very, very much. And it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
Cheers. You took your time saying that one. But yeah, I thought we'll get
I was reading. A source claims Spurs are setting new opening day. I was like, oh, when's it going to be? But I don't know yet. But that's to be confirmed in the next pod.
Brilliant. Cheers, everyone. Catch you soon. We're out.
Bye.